Yes, villagers, we're talking about 4 ways to reduce workplace stress even if you're not an athlete. If you want to find out if any of your views are reflected on those 4, you are in the right place. If you're new to this channel, welcome to our village. If you're a returning villager, welcome as well. So, let's get into it. Welcome to Garden of the Mind, where we reduce stress, improve our health and fitness, and improve our financial IQ every episode. We must believe more than we see. There was a time where we used to watch our athletes appear as if they were superhuman. At that time, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have cell phones or anything else that increased the pressure on these athletes 24/7. So we're going to take a look at 4 ways to reduce that pressure. Tip number 1, don't talk trash or do anything that brings unnecessary attention to yourself. Now, there are some sports where talking trash is as much a part of the sport as playing the sport. We're talking about some wrestlers. Wrestlers talk a whole lot of trash. Boxers talk a whole lot of trash, and we look to see exactly what the results of that trash talking is by us buying seats. But if you are not a boxer or a wrestler where public talking trash is going to lead to selling more tickets, then you can probably reduce the amount of talking trash, because what it does is it increases the lens on your performance. And that's something that you probably don't need, because all eyes are probably going to be on you to begin with. Tip number 2 is very close to tip number 1, is don't criticize others. When we criticize others, what we are saying to our audience is if we had the chance to do what they are doing, we would do it that much better. So people give us an opportunity to prove that. So when it's our time up at bat, then people are waiting on our performance to see if in fact we are doing better than what it is that we said we were going to do or not. Once again, criticizing or demeaning others place us under the microscope for our performance to be judged by the very same standards that we use to judge someone else. So you reap what you sow. So it's best to sow positive things so that when it's your time up at bat, you can reap those positive things. Tip number 3, be realistic about your deadlines, your expectations, and your performance. The best way to determine how you are going to show up the day of is through your practice. So we know that if we put a whole lot of energy into our preparation, we can show up the same way that we practiced. And if we practice really well, then we can look forward to having a great performance. Some of the ways for us to decrease our level of anxiety is to be aware of deadlines and aware of as many curveballs as possible, because life is going to throw us curveballs anyway. But if we spend time with the ones that we know, we can help ourselves by being forewarned. And when you're forewarned, you are forearmed and you can improve your chances. Tip number 4, having appropriate outlets. Having appropriate outlets is very important. So we're talking about self-care. We're talking about spending time enjoying life, not the pressures of life. A friend of mine by the name of Dr. Shango Blake speaks about what works has to rest. Rest is an integral part of working. Most of the times we don't see it that way because we are measuring things from the perspective of productivity. So the work creates the productivity, but we're not thinking about how the rest allows the work to be done for the productivity to be measured. So you have to have your ratios balanced for yourself in terms of how much work you need and how much rest you need. For each of us, that's going to be a different recipe. So my recipe may not be the same as your recipe, but we know when we are not within those guidelines when we are talking about feeling stressed. When we're talking about feeling stressed, that lets us know that our ratios are out of balance and we need to do some things to put them back in balance, or life will correct us. And most of the times those lessons are not easy lessons for us to undergo. Now, I was watching a documentary about Ron Artest, who was a basketball player who played in the NBA a few years ago. And at the championship, he thanked his psychiatrist. And he spoke about how if your mental health is not where it needs to be, you can't do anything. And I could not agree more. So that's the same lesson that I would like to impart to you today, is that if your mental health is not where it needs to be, you can't do anything. So please guard your mental health as best as possible. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up. If you like this channel, please subscribe. If you want to know when I post, which is Wednesday, and I have to apologize to you for the last 2 Wednesdays, please click on that notification bell so you get that ding on your phone and you know that a new video is waiting for you. And remember, thoughts are actions, words have power, and actions have consequences. I'll see you next Wednesday. See you then.